chapter and a retreat. We're serving two functions as a community. We were talking earlier today, we've only been around for 8 months in a tradition that has been around for almost 900 years as Franciscans. It's existed before that, but from St. Francis's origination, almost 900 years. What does that mean for us? This morning we had a wonderful presentation by Father George. St. George. Father St. George. Saint Father George. Talking about the spirituality component. And as the community's leader, I am entrusted in not only the spiritual growth of the community as a collective, but also the organizational growth. We are at a pivotal time. Even though we're only in our 8th month, we are at a pivotal time because we have people who are inquiring. We have people who are involved outside of the community and are invested in this community's growth. So what we need to do is focus our conversation on how we can address a lot of the issues that will help bring us to where we need to go. It's all about growth in spirit as well as in function. And so one of the things that is important to start with is a perspective. In 8 months, what have we done? Where were we? And it seems like 8 years, but in such a short amount of time, we have been able to accomplish much. So where we began on phone calls, in individual gatherings, and we began looking at other religious communities, independent, Roman, ecumenical. What are some similarities or commonalities that existed? Where was there a need? Because one thing that we did not want to do was do something that has already been done. It doesn't make sense. We see that a lot in the independent church movement, just a lot of repetition, especially in a similar geographic area where you can really harness that energy and harness those resources and do something great, but there's separation or divisions that kind of keep people apart. We didn't want to be part of that. So we looked at other religious communities. We wanted to be unique. We wanted to be different. We were intentional, and we wanted to start slowly and move slowly. We had conference calls. We had a Ning website that we exchanged information and did some chatting and talked about some logistics. And because we were separated geographically, it was difficult, but we made it happen. We prayed over it and reviewed documents. And no matter what we did, we always returned to Franciscana. Franciscana is the word that is used to describe any type of documentation related to St. Francis or Franciscan living. So Franciscana was our guide. Those documents, whether it was the rule or the life of St. Francis from whatever particular author, our own Franciscan perspectives, because some of us have come from different Franciscan communities. But not all who started stayed. We had people who began the journey with us, were starting in the dialogue, were great resources because of their perspective, but that divine design brought them in so that we can learn, they can grow, we can grow, and the Lord moved them on. And then moved us on, sometimes in different directions. And that was divine. And then we went to the Incarnation Center in Connecticut. And we did our first professions, our first elections, our first investitures. And it was a wonderful opportunity for us for the very first time to call ourselves, with authenticity, the Franciscan Community of Mercy. That's where we began. This is where we are. So we have the past, only 8 months ago. We have our present. Today and tomorrow, we're going to discuss where we're going. Where do we want to go? And everyone in here, their opinion is valid. Whether you are in a habit or not, whether you are a male, female, whether you are young or young, your perspective counts. So I want to preface our conversation by saying that because when we think of the word community, we don't just think of, well, you're in vowels, so your statement sounds louder or stands stronger. We don't each other. What are some practical suggestions for personal interaction with one another? And the idea is behind practicality. What are some things that we can set out to do, but not set ourselves up for failure? Some practical, realistic, attainable things we can do to increase our personal interaction with one another. So these are some guided questions, but like with any guided questions, these are only my suggestions. Don't let this restrict you from thinking of other questions that go along with those categories. So that when we come back, we'll share, and then just like this, for each area, we will go right into the PowerPoint and keep track of everything that is shared out by the group. So in the end, we will have under each of these sections, everyone's ideas, vocations, finances, ministry. We will do that. We'll go right into the PowerPoint and then have a running record of everything that is shared, because everyone's opinion is valued and important, and we consider all of you members of the Franciscan Community of Mercy. It's not about being bowed, it's not about being in a habit, it's about being true to what it is that brought us all here for this week.